And now, a reading from Wampameters, FOMA, and Grand Falloons by Kurt Vonnegut Jr. Mr. Nixon himself is a minor character in this book. He's the first president to hate the American people and all they stand for. He believes so vibrantly in his own purity, although he has committed crimes which are hideous, that I am bound to conclude that someone told him when he was very young that all serious crime was sexual, that no one could be a criminal who did not commit adultery or masturbate. He is a useful man in that he has shown that our Constitution is a defective document, which makes a childlike assumption that we would never elect a president who disliked us so. So we must amend the Constitution in order that we can more easily eject such a person from office or even put them in jail. That is my chief utopian scheme for the moment. My longer range schemes have to do with providing all Americans with artificial extended families of 1,000 members or more. Only when we have overcome loneliness can we begin to share wealth and work more fairly. I honestly believe that we will have those families by and by, and I hope they will become international. Skipping ahead, years ago, when I was working at Schenectady for General Electric, completely surrounded by machines and ideas for machines, so I wrote a novel about people and machines, and the machines frequently got the best of it, as machines will. It was called Player Piano, and it was brought out again in both hardcover and paperback. Might even be on the Kindle, too. And I learned from reviewers that I was a science fiction writer. I didn't know that. I suppose that I was writing a novel about life, about things I could not avoid seeing and hearing in Schenectady, a very real town, awkwardly set in the gruesome now. I have been a sore occupant of a file drawer labeled science fiction ever since, and I would like out, particularly since many serious critics regularly mistake the drawer for a urinal. The way a person gets into this drawer, apparently, is to notice technology. The feeling persists that no one can simultaneously be a respectable writer and understand how a refrigerator works. Just as no gentleman in a brown suit can wear a brown suit in the city. Colleges may be to blame. English majors are encouraged, I know, to hate chemistry and physics, and to be proud because they are not dull and creepy and humorless and war-oriented like the engineers across the quad. And our most impressive critics have commonly been such English majors, and they are squeamish about technology to this very day, so it's natural for them to despise science fiction. Interesting stuff from Kurt Vonnegut Jr. Especially interesting his ideas about Nixon and how he described Nixon as a person who hated America and hated the ideas behind America. Kind of reminds me of someone else in the White House right now who seems to think that he's a king, who seems to think that he's above the law. Also, a great tag there by Vonnegut about science fiction. I think Philip K. Dick had this same problem, although he did write for the pulps. He was a pulp sci-fi writer. Vonnegut, a little higher level sci-fi writer, but still trying to fight out of it, trying to prove that you can have ideas and talk about technology. It doesn't have to be in this lower form of artwork called science fiction. But I just thought it was funny. I read that yesterday, thought it really tied into the way things are going in this country. You can disagree if you want, and certainly you can always go back to I think Vonnegut's a socialist. I think he tells you all the time that he cares about other people, he wants better for them, and he believes if we work together, we could do great things. I also liked his idea about the extended family, and we've talked about it here quite a lot, about the idea of finding your clan. And maybe Bitcoiners are your clan. Maybe libertarians are your clan. Maybe cypherpunks. Maybe you haven't found your clan yet. Maybe your clan is just internet people, computer geeks. Who knows? But when you find it, you'll be happy. And he did write a book about this, Slapstick, in which the president at the time, kind of President Vonnegut, really, but he assigned to everyone a new middle name with a number, like a Blue 7. So I would be Thomas Blue 7 Hunt. And anyone else who had a Blue 7 would be part of my family. Anyone else who had a blue would be like my cousin. This way, people had extended families all over the world that they could go to and get help. And that's what people need, is a connection to other people and a way to get help. So very interesting ideas from Vonnegut. Also, I wanted to mention, like many of you, I spent 2.5 hours yesterday hanging out with Joe Rogan and Elon Musk. Great interview, start to finish, fascinating topics. Of course, everyone's talking about the joint at the end and nothing else. But let's be clear, he talked about artificial intelligence with an exhaustion. Elon said, I've tried to warn people, I've tried to stop people. No one's listening. I gave up. At this point, Joe Rogan breaks out the whiskey. That's where the interview starts to go, not even off the rails. I think it's a great interview. Sadly, it's probably going to be the last 2.5 hour interview with Elon Musk that we ever see. I hope he'll come back to Joe Rogan, but such a perfect storm to hit that guy. The CFO quit, the HR lady quit, and he smokes a joint on TV on the same day. Rough news cycle for Elon Musk. I hope he survives it. He seems incredibly intelligent, interesting, thoughtful, and he talks about AI, talks about how he's depressed, but he also talks about what his goal is and why he's an optimist. Elon Musk wants to make the future great. That's a great one. I mean, that's a good thing. He wants to make the future interesting. He wants there to be things out there. When he talked about the Tesla, he was saying it was the most fun thing that you could own. Just that fun everywhere. And he wants that with his flamethrower and his hats and his drilling holes and all this stuff. It really became a good interview, even though I thought Joe Rogan started out a little weak, kind of talking about Elon's time management. Joe Rogan doesn't seem to understand that Elon actually runs companies. The people at the companies do the work. Elon's a smart guy, but he's not an engineer working on SpaceX. He's not the one designing the Tesla software. Sure, if somebody comes to him and says, hey, we can make the car dance a ballet and play music, well, Elon says yes. So he's in charge in that way. But making that decision is pretty quick. It's the engineers who work at the company who are actually going to code the software. But definitely check out the Joe Rogan, Elon Musk interview. Great stuff. Very good time. And let's just get started today on Bitcoin Talk Show. Today is Saturday, September 8th, 2018. My name is Thomas Hunt, and here's what's happening today in Bitcoin. The price of Bitcoin looks like it's down, but it's up 0.41% in the last 24 hours, with a last of 6,434, a high of 6,478, and a low of 6,397. That's $1 for 15,573 Satoshis, just on the other side of the 15,000 Satoshi barrier. Checking out the top 10 altcoins sorted by volume against the price of Bitcoin. Ethereum is even. Bitcoin Cash down a quarter. Dash up 6%. EOS even. Ethereum Classic up 1.5%. Litecoin up almost 3/4. Ripple up 0.5 point. Qtum down 3.25%. And something I've never heard of called Quant up 12,059%. Quant. Who knows? Tron, Zcash, Ontology, something called Exchange Union, and Neo rounding out the top 15 in case you were curious. Checking out the top 10 distributed applications, things are slowing down because it's a weekend. IDEX drops to 1,500 users, Fork Delta under 1,000. Then we have the under 500 club with Ethereum on, CryptoKitties, and something called Fair Dap Infinity, which they say is gambling and has 300 daily active users. Checking out the most active blockchains, things have returned to normal with EOS, BitShares, and Steem, followed by Ethereum and Bitcoin. What happened to Bitch? Dropped all the way to 12th place after they stopped faking transactions. It was a test. It was not real, Roger. Sorry. 82,000 unconfirmed transactions on Ethereum, while the Bitcoin blockchain is about 49% full. Checking out yesterday's shows here on the World Crypto Network, Max continues to report from the Hayek Summer Workshop. Interesting economic views and opinions there. And of course, if you're not interested in Hayek, you don't have to watch those episodes. It's fine. Max also did an interview with Stephen Livera, the new podcaster who's been making lots of waves. Looks a really good interview. They talk about Bitcoin's inelastic money supply. Sounds like a good one. We also did the Bitcoin group and, of course, the Bitcoin Talk Show. Let's see. We're going to do yesterday's comments a little bit later in the show, but I forgot I have two shows to do yesterday's comments with. Oh, no, I was gonna do them now. I'm gonna do it now. But let's get started on yesterday's comments. Also, shout out to Max. He's been doing a lot of shows lately. Maybe you guys should follow him on Twitter. I think it would be cool if everybody followed Max on Twitter. He only has about 600 followers right now. Let's see if we can get Max over 1,000 followers. All you have to do is follow Max on Twitter. It's free. While you're there, follow Mad Bitcoins too. That'd be cool. Checking out yesterday's, I can't see the things. I can't decide where I should start. Bitcoin talk show comments or Bitcoin group comments. Well, let's see. Bitcoin talk show. We had 6 comments. Pretty good. Mustafa writes, another great video from WCN. It's very interesting to hear from Venezuelans on how they're dealing with the currency collapse. It also shows us what can and will happen in other countries eventually. We should all be looking at Venezuela as the test net of what's to come. Good stuff from Mustafa. Roy Westbacher says, includes a timestamp. Thank you. And he's talking about diet. We discussed diet and stomach problems yesterday. And lots of people have been sending me encouraging advice and their own personal stories. And I really appreciate it. He says that he saw an old video by John Robbins, the son of Baskin Robbins, on PBS called Diet for a New America back in the late 80s. He never looked back after that. He switched from one day to the next. No problem. Never a diet-related problem since. I wonder what the diet for New America is. Is it a Mediterranean diet or eating smaller foods or something like that, eating less meals? I don't know. Tell us, Roy. We'd be curious to know. Excuse me. Rock Barcelos writes in from Brazil. He says, good show and very cool talk with Bitcoinero. He also mentions he had an uncle who's from Bolivia, but was living in Venezuela for many years. Fortunately, he and his family was able to escape back to Bolivia last year. I don't think he knew of anything about crypto, though. I even mentioned it to my mom, but it ended up not being necessary. Interesting stuff. Matthew writes he's here for the shout out, and he's going to get it because he names the author who wrote Inherent Vice, Thomas Pynchon. Inherent Vice, Gravity's Rainbow, Mason and Dixon, a very mysterious character who, much like Satoshi, chooses not to reveal his true identity and still maintains a loyal cult following. I haven't read any of those books yet, but they are on my radar. I read most of David Foster Wallace instead. But they're both generally known to be hard to read authors, but sometimes things that are hard to read end up being rewarding. You just have to work through it. And shout out to Illyrion, who timestamped at 1:27 and 00, the Venezuelan caller. He said it was very interesting. And he says, recently, Max Kaiser interviewed Ryan Taylor, the CEO of Dash Core. Boy, they just keep adding names in there. Taylor stated that they had teams on the ground helping Venezuelans to use Dash for day-to-day transactions. I immediately thought of what you said, that Bitcoin doesn't have a marketing team like Dash has. So it's nice to see a Venezuelan helping out his fellow citizens with Bitcoin, specifically Bitcoin and not altcoins, and in the meantime explaining the truth to people like us who have many distorted ideas about the goings-on in Venezuela. And I do agree, it was great to hear from Bitcoinero in Venezuela, and I do hope he calls back next week and continue to give us an update on the situation there. I also remember his words and what he said about Dash. These people may be down there selling Dash, but it's not exactly benefiting the Venezuelan people when Dash drops 20%. Sure, Bitcoin went down as well, but much less than Dash. And if you have to weigh your risky investments, you're already in a very dangerous situation in Venezuela with the currency collapse. Why make your situation even worse by betting on Dash? Just a very dangerous idea, and might even hurt people too. Not really good to be spreading Dash in Venezuela, but I suppose they disagree with that. I'm just not sure how. Shout out to Jeremy Sager for timestamping the Bitcoin group. Always useful and helpful stuff that Jeremy does here at the World Crypto Network. Vengeance MT Gao says, cool. B-Trash is down below $500 again. Ha 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 ha. Die, B-Trash, die. Back when I first learned about ASIC Boost and why Veer and Jihan spam the mempool, I was so angry that if my chest were a cannon and I had a clear shot at those two, I would have shot my heart at them. Ooh, serious anger from Vention Empty Gao. Sortek writes, I agree. Scam King Roger Ver has a big bag of Bitcoin. He lies about dumping his Bitcoin for bitch, but he has only proven to be an untrustworthy snake. When the dust settles, anyone still holding B trash will suffer. You only have yourself to blame. Your leaders will dump their bitch holdings without you knowing. Ansel Linder writes in, says there is no trend right now. That's why TA is very wrong right now. Wait until we're in a bull market. The trading is less difficult. Yes, everyone thinks they're a genius in a bull market. You make 3 accidental investments, the thing goes up 20%, and suddenly you're the smartest person on Wall Street. Keep an eye out for that, though. I'm not sure how long that smarts is going to last. Sortek also says it's an excellent episode, and Kim Hughes writes, kudos, guys. Great content. Vention bought another $1,000 worth of Bitcoin. He typically buys on payday, so this slam down came just in time. There's a limited number of Bitcoins out there, so they can't keep this up forever. It's just like the bear whale, and he got some of those cheap Bitcoins that used to belong to the bear whale back in 2014. It was quite a thing in 2014. This person, or at least we think it's a person, might have been a bear, came along and sold thousands of Bitcoins all of a sudden, and it was pretty low too. It had been higher and it was low, and whoever it is just decided, that's it. I've had enough of this. I'm getting out. And it was quite a battle, and everyone bought back in, and everyone just tried to buy it all up. And eventually it went away, and the chart kept going. There's lots of great art commemorating the bear whale. I have a chart at home in Sacramento. It's a painting that someone did, and they took the chart of the bear whale and they drew on it like a bear and a surf, and they're fighting. It's pretty incredible. I'd search for it right now, but it's a distraction. But there's a lot of great bear whale art out there, and that is where it came from back in 2014. Texas Cash says, thanks, guys. I'm not sure what Ansel means saying that Twitter did SegWit before Bitcoin. Maybe he means Litecoin. That could be. And JG says, Andy's the biggest flip-flopper of them all. Thomas, you're the best. He might be nailing Andy on the silver and gold thing, but Andy's been pretty open about that he was a firm believer in silver and gold for a long time. He was even in gold mining stocks. He was well into the industry and talked about it for many of the same reasons that people are in favor of Bitcoin. Sound money. Andy was looking for sound money. And when he found Bitcoin, it seems pretty obvious to me he moved his allegiance from gold and silver over to Bitcoin. It might have taken him a while, but eventually he had a video, I think 6 months or a year ago, where he's like, that's it. I'm completely out of gold and silver. I'm completely in, Bitcoin and cryptos. So pretty amazing turn for Andy. And if you see new evidence and it makes you change your mind, there's nothing wrong with that. That's called learning. So once again, everyone should follow Max Hillebrand on Twitter. He's up to 622 followers at Hillebrand Max. Good stuff from Max. Checking out the Bitcoin news, Bitcoin price stabilizes at 6,400, while analyst sticks to crypto downtrend. Let's see what they've got here. Over optimism could hurt Bitcoin. Token price movements. And as Eric Voorhees says, the bear market is not over yet, but the low price range represents a viable opportunity to invest in the cryptocurrency market. Even if Bitcoin drops in the upcoming days, it's unlikely to see Bitcoin testing the mid $5,000 range. Guess spot. Who or what can put an end to Bitcoin? Nothing and no one. Let's see. Bans on Bitcoin, cyber warfare, PR attacks, national currencies. These are all going to fail. Using similar names. I love it. They have a whole section about Bcash, B Diamond, and so forth. And that by trying to take the name of Bitcoin, they are in some ways weakening the Bitcoin project. Attacks at the infrastructure, high-level cyber attacks, and finally, the conclusion. It should be noted that if you take into account the total number of Bitcoin users, then the real killer attack would require a lot of effort. Only a well funded agency can inflict significant damage to the Bitcoin system. Ultimately, it's possible to kill anything, even Bitcoin. Fortunately, Bitcoin has already experienced many unpleasant moments and still remains very reliable. Probably the next test Bitcoin will have to go to will happen during the next financial crisis. In the meantime, I don't worry much about its future. Good stuff from CCN. Checking out Crypto Daily, Bitcoin's last correction before the next global financial crisis. Whoa, really laying it out there. He believes a financial crisis is coming, and like many people, you can hedge in Bitcoin. So it just might be a safe place to hide from the storm. Bitcoin velocity drop off shows usage as a reserve currency. Oh, that's one way to look at it. Another way is that people started using batching to save on fees. And additionally, SegWit allows for more transactions in a single block. And there's just less transactions on the network because you can't spam it and have it go back into your own pockets. When the mining was about 80% Bitcoin, you could put $1 out there and expect an 80% chance of getting it back. That meant that you could buy spam for free or almost free, 20% loss on spam. So they just cranked up the network and they said the network was broken and that we need to switch to bigger blocks. That's right. The spam attack was part of the propaganda attack. Two fronts. Pincher movement. MIT Technology Review. Wall Street's embrace could break Bitcoin. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't think so. Let's see what they say. Oh, they're talking about the rehypothecation. Yeah, that could be bad, but that's also going to be bad for Wall Street. If the price of Bitcoin goes up like crazy, people are going to want their actual Bitcoins. If you're running an ETF or an exchange and you don't actually have the Bitcoins, people are going to find out. It's not as hard to hide Bitcoins as it is to hide the Federal Reserve or Fort Knox. The next, Venezuela. Bitcoin up over 8,400 in Iran amid hyperinflation. That's right. More and more, the writing that we put on the walls years ago when we were turned on by the Cyprus event of 2013, when the people of Cyprus suddenly had an option. Previously, when your country decides to freeze your money in the banks, you have nowhere else to go. Remember in Cyprus in 2013, there was lots of foreign money in their banks, maybe from questionable sources. And the government of Cyprus did what governments do. And they thought, hey, let's get us some of that money. So they froze the banks, and suddenly people could only buy $100 of whatever the Cyprus people use, sorry, from the banks. You could only get $100 from the ATM. And there was a huge run on the banks of Cyprus, as well as probably lots of these questionable people losing their money. This Cyprus event showed that you could go to Bitcoin as an alternative, and people began doing it. It caused the price of Bitcoin to spike from around $30 to $300. It was amazing. Bitcoin was all over the news, and you couldn't help think about why this was going to be a serious currency and how it was so much more than World of Warcraft money. Now we're seeing Venezuela and Iran and many other countries soon finding that when your currency is collapsing, you don't just have to do nothing or buy dollars. You could actually buy Bitcoin. Like the caller from Venezuela said yesterday, people are even learning that you can have your friends and family outside of the country send you Bitcoin. It's a good idea. And again, we're going to see more and more stories like this, more and more countries going this way as Bitcoin continues to spread. And unfortunately, as these countries continue to implode. Check out yesterday's show where we had that great call from Caracas, Venezuela. Shout out to Bitcoinero. Was great hearing from him and hearing what the conditions are actually like on the ground in Venezuela. He said that many of his friends had lost money because people told them to buy or mine Dash. And he was very upset about that. He did not think that the Dash people were helping the situation. He knew the difference between Bitcoin and Dash, and he much preferred Bitcoin. Checking out Twitter, let's see what was happening yesterday. Andy and I did the Bitcoin group. That was great. Unfortunately, Chrome changed the look of their browser. This is what Chrome currently looks like. See the diagonal tabs, how they look like file folders? File folders are something used by adults, as well as it being really tight and not very long vertically. They changed it to this. It's all circles and rounded tabs. The tabs look like big children tabs, and they also extended the length of the bar vertically. So you can change this by installing a theme on Google Plus to one of the old themes. You can remove that ugly new tabs by going to Chrome //flags, searching for top MD and setting it to normal. At least that works for now. They also added more space to the bookmark bar, and they changed the way that Google looks. It was a big change day for Google yesterday, and I didn't like it. So then we had the Bitcoin group, lots of fun. This was a great story. I don't like the Dodgers. I don't like Kirk Gibson when they beat the A's in 1988, but this is a great story. Just in, the Los Angeles Dodgers will announce today on 9/21 that they will distribute crypto tokens that unlock one of 3 digital player bobbleheads that can be stored in a fan's Ethereum wallet, believed to be the first crypto-based giveaway in pro sports. Of course, I thought this is a big deal because it was just a few years ago when I was trying to launch a little company called Curio Cards, and I had told my friends that we needed to create digital baseball cards. And that's what we did. We created digital baseball cards on the Ethereum blockchain, and we allowed artists to make them, and then we gave the money directly to the artists. And we were very much into this idea of crypto collectibles. It predated CryptoKitties, and even in the new Ethereum 721 token specs, they mentioned curio cards because some of the programming that Rhett did is now obsolete because they kind of added it in to the 721 spec. Rhett Creighton, my friend, worked with us on the project, and he created these vending machines that you could send Ethereum to that would then send the cards back to your Ethereum wallet. It was a really cool system. We tried it out. We tried to push it as hard as we could, but maybe we were just a little too early, or we didn't have the genetically mutating crypto cats like the CryptoKitties, or whatever big connections got this company to get a deal with the Dodgers. So they're giving away something that's not real. But maybe this is the future. Maybe it's all going this way. Very cool stuff. I think I'm going to be out of town. Otherwise, man, I could try to go there. Dodger Stadium isn't as far away as it used to be, though it is still pretty far. Like I said earlier, I watched the Joe Rogan interview. My friend at No Bitcoin is giving away Bitcoin hats. This is where I got my Bitcoin hat. So if you want a Bitcoin hat, retweet him, and he's going to give away one hat to someone who retweeted him. Whale Panda says Ethereum Berlin has drag queens singing an X-rated version of YMCA on its main stage. Very strange. Apple permanently banned InfoWars from the App Store. For those of you keeping score, he's now banned on Apple and Twitter as well. It's also interesting to me, they always mention Sandy Hook. They never mention 9/11 Building 7. So Alex's work has kind of branched off. I'm not sure what he's doing anymore other than selling those prepper supplies and spreading a lot of fear. Jihadists tried multiple times to raise funds via crypto without much success. That's right, it didn't work. So terrorists tried to raise funds in crypto and it didn't work. Don't forget the second half of that. They only want you to focus on the first. But that's about it for our quick review of what's been happening today in Bitcoin. We're now going to open up the phone lines. We don't have a lot of time this morning. I do have some appointments to get to here on Saturday, but I'm going to try to keep the call lines open till about 10 a.m. So you got about half an hour. We could do maybe 3 or 4 calls if they're nice and short, and if you guys are around. If you're around, you want to call in at SKYPE World Crypto Network, all one word, or at 518-600-1949. Otherwise, I guess I could just talk more about the Elon Musk interview and Joe Rogan. It was fascinating. It didn't seem like time dragged at all. Certainly, I did feel it sitting there for over 2 hours, but just an interesting interview from two interesting guys. Joe Rogan seems to constantly underplay his intelligence and his abilities, but maybe that's just a tactic he was using to help Elon relax. And Elon very much relaxed. Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network. What's your name and
Howdy,
where are you
howdy.
calling from?
It's the Dutch guy I called in, I think 2 weeks ago.
All right, good to hear you again, Dutch guy.
Yeah.
What's on your mind about Bitcoin today? Get rid of this.
Well, I was watching the live stream from the Lightning Hack weekend in Germany,
Nice.
and there are tons of these like conferences or technical stuff you had building on Bitcoin a while ago, and what they do is they get a live stream, they dump that live stream on the internet. It's like 6 hours long, and you just have to like browse through it yourself, but it's unstructured data and it's not structured. So I've been struggling with this for a while now. So I was thinking like maybe I could just structure it, like cut it up, edit it to like individual videos of the speakers with their information and contact information, etc., etc. Um, but on the one hand, I don't want to steal any content right from these people, and on the other hand, I would have to create like a new YouTube channel for that. So I was thinking maybe this is something for the World Crypto Network to pick up,
Um,
to aggregate this type of information.
Well, it's interesting because they did actually offer us the live stream for the Lightning show. We were trying to get it with our friend Josh, who works at Voltoro, and we were
Right.
going to have it on our network here, so we would have had that. It does, like you say, I think it's mainly about the time because I kind of need to do the same things here. Like there are a lot of great clips in this show. Sometimes I say good things, sometimes the callers say good things, all that kind of stuff. Um, but clipping it out, you have to download the entire video. If it's over 2 hours long, it's going to take at least 10, 20 minutes to download the video. Then you have to load it up in your editor, make all the cuts like you say, and then render each exported video. So it's just a pretty good amount of editing work. To save you a little trouble on that, what you might want to do is just timestamp the video. If you go in there, put a whole stack of timestamps together like Jeremy does on the Bitcoin group, that works just as well, and you can do it right in the YouTube comments. So I would say that's probably a faster, easier way.
Yeah, but then like finding the information gets hard, right? Because if you plus the editing, like getting snippets from like a show like this, you have to search for the timestamp. Whereas a live stream from a conference, it's rather straightforward. You just skip through to see when the next guy is on stage, and you take a cut there and you cut it at the end when he's done, and you can add his contact information, which is on the screen, right, on his PowerPoint presentation. You just copy that and put that in the description. Make the title of the actual presentation with the date and the place, etc.
Well,
So
I think it would help.
I'm up for it to do it because it's like a personal frustration of mine, working through these big files just to find what I needed. But I think like it would be useful to get it in a place where you can aggregate that information.
Sure, yeah, maybe you could send me an email or a Twitter DM, and if you want to go ahead and download the video, edit it up, and then put the video somewhere like a Dropbox account or another public file server, and you could share the link with me. I could upload them to the World Crypto Network because, like I said, Josh Voltoro, they sponsored this stream, so I'm sure I can ask Josh, get permission, and I'm sure
Right.
they'll be fine with it. We were almost going to have it anyway, so if we have an edited version of it, it's just as well. And again, we're supporting the idea. We support the organizations. You know, it's not commentary or negative or anything. So, yeah,
Right.
I think it'd be good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that was it for Melee.
Well, that sounds great. And when you're done editing that, if you want to edit some World Crypto Network shows or something else, we always have things to edit, and we're always looking for I don't know. Eventually, one of the plans, and I know I've taken all the donation links out of the show because no one's donating. But the whole $1 million idea. One of those ideas is that we would hire an editor to go back through and kind of create this World Crypto Network archive. And I'm a big fan of Howard Stern, and Howard Stern actually did that, and it was a massive project. And I can imagine teams of interns listening to old shows for hours and hours, even on high speed. It's going to take a lot of time, but just going through archiving, seeing what we have in the shows, and then bringing them back so that people can rewatch old interesting shows, or cutting things together, like what did Andreas say about this on that day, or what did Tone say about this on that day, and cutting them all together and then bringing this old content out of the archives. So I think it's a great idea. It's something that's needed. And even if you didn't want my help or something on this, I mean, I can definitely help. But there's an account out there called JRE Clips. And the guy just does clips of the Joe Rogan show. And I don't think he's related to Joe Rogan, but I think he brings a lot of press to Joe because he does these great little 10-minute clips. And I always end up watching them, and then I watch the whole interview. I'm like, wow, that clip was so interesting. I'm going to go watch the full thing. So it's really great advertising for his show. And I think a fan just does that. So if more people wanted to do that, I'd be great with it.
Right. Because we are in an information war, and a lot of the in-group narrative, let's say, of the Bitcoin space, it's just very hard to penetrate, right? And finding technical information and such, and it's just not like I'm up for listening to a 6-hour live stream because I like the information, right? And I can passively listen to most of it while playing StarCraft or something. But it's just, I think it needs to be more accessible because it's all hidden away in corners somewhere.
It is tough because I know on this show here, I was talking to my brother yesterday, and he was like, yeah, you should go back to doing 10-minute shows because that's more of a YouTube thing. But of course, I really like this talk radio format that we're kind of developing here. I think that's a good thing. But you got to go long for talk radio, right? I mean, we got the Venezuelan call because we were on for an hour and a half by the time he found the show, and then he called in. If we weren't there, the time wouldn't have worked out. So I don't know what to do. And I do think it's kind of a manpower issue. I spend a lot of my time on this, and then I kind of need those interns or those people to help, and we don't have any money. So if there's volunteers, that's great. But again, we don't have any money. So you're volunteering out of your own good. And good things will happen, but just not monetary things right away anyway.
Yeah, someone in the comments said that the timestamps is the easiest thing to do for what I want. I'm not like it's very convenient, right, for people who find the live stream, but they have to look specifically for, it's like finding the information. So you have to look for specifically the Lightning Hack Day thing, and then you find all the presentations and all the names of the people giving the presentations and the subjects that they give the presentations about. Whereas if there are individual videos of like these presentations are like what 20 minutes, it's very concise. It became its own thing. But I'm like personally, I'm willing to do it. But it's just I don't want to steal any information or thunder from other channels or people who are creating this. So, but I'll send you an email about the subject.
Yeah, it sounds good. I think you found a way to do that, and that we can work together, and we'll work with Josh and the Lightning Hack Day people to make sure they're all fine with this. But I think it's just going to bring more attention to their project and more attention to this whole idea. So it'll be good overall. And if you're willing to volunteer the time, we're certainly all of this. Remember, we're Bitcoin's marketing department, and it's all volunteer. So we definitely appreciate your help.
Okay, cool. Because like I said, we are in an information war, and the paid side on this on this battlefield is getting a lot more attention, I'd say. So
They really are, and it's frustrating. I often wonder where the, for lack of a better term, where the good Bitcoin billionaires are, and where the people who are going to push back against Roger and unite this Bitcoin community and help us drive out these snakes. And we keep waiting and we keep waiting, but it's just us, and we just keep going. So
it's hard. It's hard. I know a couple of people who are crypto rich, just like, and they get lazy and complacent because they're already in, right. We're at like a couple of thousand of Bitcoin. They got in soon enough when it was very low, so they're already done. There's not really any motivation for them to get up and do anything. except for just like sitting behind a computer playing games all day because they're already done, right?
Yeah, it's a little sad. I worry about that. They should watch some of those old Richard Hart videos where he talks about how he used to spend his life playing video games and how at one point he got bored of it. And he was like, yeah, this is not going anywhere. I just wake up every day and play the game and go back to bed and, go drinking and go partying and all this. And it just wasn't working. So I think hopefully they'll wake up out of that, but that's definitely one of the problems. And definitely what happens is if you make a little bit of money and you don't have to work anymore and you're separated from the industry, because the people that made money here are the ones that sold in December or January or whatever. The rest of us are still going along here. But yeah, it would be great if some of them came back and helped, or if some of the original OGs. There's people just from way back in the day who have way too much money and they don't know what to do with it. And if they wanted to donate it here or anywhere else, or put an organization together, I'd be all for that. Definitely be interested. But nothing yet. And meanwhile, Roger is just cruising over there at Bitcoin.com. He's got authors, he's got videos, he's traveling the world, he's doing some kind of, I don't know, I guess he's doing a Michael Moore type thing now. He's popping up on Samson Mao and these other people, and he's paying someone to film him, and he's doing pop-up surprise interviews on people. So I don't know. The other side's certainly working very hard. I'm curious to know what the billionaires are doing, if anything. So.
Right. I can understand that it's hard to invest this is to anyone who has like a substantial amount of Bitcoin, right? I understand it's hard to give it away, right? Especially with the prospect of it going much, much, much higher. The problem is that there is an actual war going on. And you don't have to invest in some shitty upstart, because the World Crypto Network has been going on for a while now. And it's pretty established. It has the connection. So I think it would be a good, like in terms of the war, I think you get a good return on investment. Maybe not necessarily in monetary gains, but like in terms of this battlefield, it would be great.
And that's it. Investing in media is not necessarily going to bring you a lot of money. I spent all my time making Bitcoin media, and I really didn't get a lot of money. I'm not upset, but I just, that's not what it's about. I could work at Subway if I needed to. I'm not worried. But if people wanted to donate, or if they want to come on as a partner, if they want to do that, there were a lot of people on this network not too long ago, and a lot of them left to get more and more money. So if we had money, maybe they'd still be here, or maybe we could get new, better people who believe in other things than money, or who believe in Bitcoin, maybe something like that. But possibilities, lots of options, really flexible. But I just think this is it's a good idea. I'm going to keep putting it out there, and I thank you for bringing it up as well, so I don't have to.
All right, no problem. Just one last note, and then I'll let you go. Someone said, and we have to complete this Bitcoin multi-sig DAO, man. I started to write up some ideas, but we need more coders input. I think that's a good point. That might be because we need, like, this Bitcoin and the infrastructure allows us new ways of organizing and creating structures. And it might actually be a good idea to pioneer in this.
So you say you need a multi-sig DAO? I think I got one.
Whatever, man. Just test out, see if it works, see if we can get it together, and work out all the kinks. And then we have a template for any other type of business to take it over. But we are on the cutting edge in terms of this technology, and I think we should make use of any benefits that come out of it.
All right, so it's not a full DAO yet. But this is my friend Justin's project, and I helped him think of the idea and stuff. Basically, it's a multi-signature wallet. They recently open sourced it, so you can verify that it's safe for your money, have someone else check it. And basically what this multi-signature wallet does is you can set it up for your business. So people get joined into the wallet. It's really easy to add and subtract people, unlike traditional multi-sig wallets, and everything's done by voting. So if we were going to decide, let's, pay someone $1,000 to edit the World Crypto Network, we would have, you would propose it. You would say, send $1,000 from this account to this account. Then everyone would come in and vote on it. And if you all voted yes, then we would pay $1,000 to the editor and he would edit or something like that, or maybe we pay him after the fact. Either one of those. But I think this could do what you're saying. And if people are concerned about, giving me $1 million and I'm going to run off or something, which is a
Yeah,
fine
right.
concern, you shouldn't trust me. It's an absurd. I put the fundraiser up there, but I'm not. You don't have to just send it. You can call me or something, and we can work things out like a trust. But if the problem is, the money and who controls it, we could put it in a straight up democracy here, and we could just see where it goes. But I don't know. There's all kinds of potential problems if people start brigading and creating fake accounts, and I don't know. There's all kinds of things, but this would be at least a start for, like you're saying, a way to hold these funds but still have them decentralized where people could vote on. It's also great for anybody else's project if you want to share money with someone else far away, like you're working on software together, or you just want to share money like petty cash in the office. This is a great program for that. It's much easier to use than Copay. Every time I use Copay, if you want to add someone to the multisig, you have to create a new multisig and have everyone sign it again. So this gets rid of that by creating a delegate system where you can vote people in and out. It's really neat. It's just getting started, and it stores all the data on Blockstack, so you can store the data wherever you want. So it's not linked to a central server. It's pretty cool.
Right. So that might be a good in, because like you talked about Dash and Venezuela, and this is one thing that they do really good, because they technically already have this system, right, in the architecture of Dash, where they have like money coming in and voting on where to spend it, and it's like a lot of marketing going on, but that's like a huge part of why they actually have a foothold in Venezuela is because of this stuff. So, but I'll send you an email about the videos, and maybe we can kick this thing to the next level here.
Yeah, that'd be great. And also going back with Dash, I remember years ago, Amanda Palmer used to make Bitcoin videos. Then all of a sudden, that Dash thing came out, and I think she applied for a grant. And I don't know how much money it was, but pretty soon she stopped doing Bitcoin videos and started doing Dash videos. So certainly, I'm not asking anyone to pay me to do Dash videos, but if someone wanted to pay me to do Bitcoin videos, I'd be fine with that too. So
Right.
options out there.
That's exactly the example. But like we lost, in quote unquote, lost somebody there because they had an opportunity in another system, and they were like the entire Dash thing is an entire subject by itself. But they had the facility and it worked, and we're now at the stage that we can do it in Bitcoin. So
We,
so
we
but
just we just need those.
I'll let you continue to show here.
All right. Thank you so much for your call. And yeah, contact me on Twitter or email or something. We'll figure it out. But yeah, the Dash thing was really interesting. They have the reward in the block that goes to marketing. They spread the money around. They have like a foundation. And of course, if someone out there wanted to create a real Bitcoin foundation, the current Bitcoin foundation, it was quiet for years after they spent all their money really quickly. And then now they're kind of back. I guess they're asking for more money. They don't really support the actual, grassroots of Bitcoin. This is really right where it is right here. And there's a lot of other people doing this. I'm not the only person on YouTube anymore. I kind of was for a while, but not anymore. And I'm fine with that too. We can bring those people in. Those people could get grants. It just seems that Bitcoin does need some kind of a activist organization that's funded. I've been running an activist organization here that's not funded, and like you've seen, we face a lot of challenges that funded organizations don't. People that get money don't just quit overnight, create an exact copy of what you're doing, and then try to run you out of business. But in Bitcoin, I guess they do. And other people just take everything and change their name to it and all that. So we'll just have to keep working through that. And we're going to open up the phone lines again. If you'd like to call us at SKYPE WorldCryptoNetwork, all one word, or at 518-600-1949. We did have another phone call. So if you'd like to call back, we could take your call, but it's probably going to be the last call for the day. I do have appointments today. Sorry about that. I tried to start a little bit early, but, just makes you want more, right? Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network. What's your name and where are you calling from? I thought I unmuted him. It says it's unmuted. Okay, hold on. One more chance. Oh. Looks like the server froze. Google Google Chrome taketh and Google Chrome giveth away. We might just use this to run to the end of the show. Sorry, caller. We'll take your call tomorrow or maybe on Monday. We are just kind of running out, and technical problems are a good enough reason to stop the show for today. But thanks again for the caller. Definitely good to bring up the idea about editing. And when I talk about World Crypto Network, $1 million, one of the things I'm talking about is a studio or a location in Las Vegas. We could even have live audiences. People could come visit in town, see the studio. We could have events there. Certainly we could have the Bitcoin meetups there. It would be a community center for Bitcoin, as well as a quiet room with a good microphone for podcasting, and a larger quiet room with a kind of a stage set for video casting. Those are the two ideas: podcasting, video casting, having an office, and a space in general that could be used for Bitcoin events. It would be like a Bitcoin center in Las Vegas. That's the main idea. That's the number one. So rent is expensive. That's one thing. Secondly, salaries are super expensive. If we wanted to try to hire people here, even just people to run marketing, people to run social media, even just paying the people who are on the air, that would take a lot of the funding. But again, we would open source this, we would release all this, we'd tell you what we're spending the money on, that kind of thing. But that's the basic plan for Las Vegas. That's what we're here to do. Also, if we don't just get donations, or if we can't find a Bitcoin billionaire who wants to help us out, wink, wink, time's still running out. We're going to continue to look at advertising opportunities. I think the D Hotel and Casino that owns the Golden Gate, they take Bitcoin. They would be a good advertiser for us, or a good potential partnership. They're doing a lot of great stuff on downtown Las Vegas. I really enjoy their marketing and their whole style and attitude. They're just very on top of things. So yeah, we're going to look into partnerships like that. We're going to look into other things. It's just hard to do all this kind of thing. I mainly just work on doing the shows. That's what I want to do. I never really wanted to be a businessman or all this other stuff. I want to do shows. I like business. I like these things, but it's about the shows. But thanks again to everybody in the chat for hanging out. Thanks for giving us a thumbs up and a share. I know usually we do a longer show, and we'll be sure to do a longer show tomorrow on Sunday. But until next time, bye-bye.